BGMC. The biblical truth lives here.
We are living in a time like no other in history, but fortunately for us, God wrote it all down in His prophecies. Find out what prophecies happened this week ripped straight from the headlines. Stay tuned for the Prophecy Headlines news show on the Remnant's Call.
Now, the Remnant's Call End Time Prophecy News.
Noticias de los últimos tiempos.
The first news story comes from Israel.
La primera historia viene de Israel.
Another beautiful thing in the land of Israel.
Otra cosa bien hermosa de la tierra de Israel.
Now listen to this, everybody.
Escuchen esto.
UNESCO says that the Temple Mount is not Israel.
La UNESCO dice que el monte del templo no es Israel.
In the past,
En el pasado,
Jews were not able to go up to the Temple Mount and pray.
los judíos no se les ha permitido ir al monte del templo y orar.
But because of what the UN did,
Pero por la causa de lo que hizo la
Israel
ONU,
has relaxed the rules.
Israel cambió las reglas.
So 3,000 Jews over the holy days went up to the Temple Mount and prayed.
Más de 300 judíos pudieron subir y adorar en el monte del templo.
So Israel is saying to the UN. They're letting the Jews pray for the first time in almost 70 years.
Ellos permitieron a los judíos ir y subir y adorar.
Really, actually, it's
por
been in
70 años, no sé
2,000 years.
Y eso se hizo por 2000 años. Se retuvo.
So the Jews were able to take out a talit
Ellos fueron permitidos llevar sus talit
and wrap it around themselves on top of the Temple Mount.
y orar con sus talit
First
arropados
time
allá
in
arriba.
2,000 years.
Por primera vez en
Amén.
2000 años. Amén.
Next story. Israel, you know, those Jews are just trying to bless the world.
Ustedes saben, esos judíos siempre quieren bendecir el mundo.
They've almost come up with a vaccination for HIV.
Ellos casi vinieron con una vacuna en contra del HIV.
It's 97% effective.
Es un 97% efectivo.
Now, how do you get HIV?
Entonces, ¿cómo te contraes HIV?
How do you get HIV?
¿Cómo te contraes el
When you
HIV?
don't follow the Torah.
Cuando no sigues la
Might be
Torah.
that. Might be that. Just let it go. Just ride it. Okay? HIV you can only get from unprotected sex.
El HIV solamente te puedes contagiar cuando tienes relaciones sin
And
protección.
IV drug usage.
Y también las personas que usan drogas.
Okay? When you're doing things against the laws of God, that's how you get HIV.
Cuando haces cosas contra la ley de Dios es cuando te contagias del HIV.
There's an occasional medical professional who gets HIV.
Hay también una mala práctica médica cuando puedes hacer que te
But that's
contraigas.
because they weren't following the standard operating procedures.
Pero eso es cuando no están siguiendo los requerimientos necesarios.
All right, so Israel has come up with scientists in Israel have come up with a vaccination for HIV.
Así que esos científicos estuvieron cerca del 100% de la vacuna contra el HIV.
For the first time in 2,600 years,
Por primera vez en 2600 años,
they have found artifacts from the second temple.
hallaron artefactos del segundo templo.
The first temple.
Artefactos del primer templo, perdón.
They were doing some archaeology and they found some artifacts from the first temple.
Ellos estuvieron haciendo unas excavaciones arqueológicas y encontraron artefactos del primer templo.
Which also proves that, once again, it's Israel's land.
Es lo que prueba que es la tierra de Israel, Jerusalén.
Next slide. Anti-Semitism. There's been a lot of that this week.
En esta semana hubo muchas acciones antisemitistas.
Here in the first story,
Aquí en la primera historia.
that picture is a picture of a side view mirror.
Esa es la fotografía de un retrovisor de carro.
An Israeli was searching for a part for his car.
Un israelita estuvo observando para estacionar su carro.
And he found the part in England.
Y estuvo estacionando allá en Inglaterra.
He found the part in England.
Y encontró estacionamiento en okay. Una parte del carro en Inglaterra.
The mirror for his car. And when the person in England
y esa persona allá en Inglaterra
found out that it was an Israeli wanting to buy the parts,
cuando esa persona en Inglaterra descubrió que era israelita que quería comprar la parte del carro,
he refused to ship it to Israel.
Él se rehusó en enviarlas a Israel.
Because he's an anti-Semitic Muslim.
Porque es un musulmán antisemita.
And then after saying, okay, I'll ship it to you.
Y después de decirle que sí, que se lo iba a enviar.
Okay, it was originally $48.
Originalmente era $84.
The guy said, I'll ship it to you for $1,200.
Y él dijo que se lo iba a enviar por $1,250.
Next anti-Semitic story. In a Jewish school in Montgomery County, Maryland.
Una escuela judía en Montgomery.
This week came out to find swastikas on their school.
Allá en Maryland encontraron dibujos de suásticas.
The anti-Semitism is growing worldwide, everybody.
El antisemitismo está creciendo a nivel mundial.
In our third anti-Semitism story, there were some Israelis that wanted to go to Germany for a holiday.
Hay muchos judíos que quieren ir a Alemania para sus fiestas.
And they wanted to go to this guest house in Germany.
Y quieren ir a estas casas de esas residencias para las fiestas.
They booked their vacation in Germany.
Ellos registraron sus vacaciones allá en Alemania.
And when the Germans found out they were Israelis,
y cuando los alemanes se descubrieron que eran israelíes,
they refused to accept their reservation.
Ellos se rehusaron de hacer las reservaciones para ellos.
How would you like the Israelis to do that?
¿Cómo te gustaría que los israelitas hicieran
Oh,
eso?
you're just a Nazi, so we're not going to accept you.
Eres un nazi, entonces no te vamos a aceptar.
All right? So they can't. The vacation house canceled the Israelis' reservation.
Entonces estas casas vacacionales de Alemania cancelaron las reservaciones para los israelitas.
Next story. End time prophecy news. Please pay attention. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Noticias de arrancados de los encabezados.
In Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7,
Deuteronomio 6, verso 7,
it says, teach your children at home.
dice que le enseñes a los niños en casa.
This report this week,
Ese reporte en esta semana,
there are now 1.8 million families homeschooling their children.
ahora hay 1.8 millones de estadounidenses enseñando en casa.
This has doubled since 1999.
Esto duplicó el número desde 1999.
This is 3.4% of all children in America are homeschooled.
Eso representa al 3.4% de los norteamericanos estudiando en casa.
Going on to the next story. In Proverbs 22, verse 15,
En Proverbios 22:15,
the Lord says to spank your children
el Señor
when they
dice,
need it.
el Señor dice que puedes corregir al niño cuando lo necesites.
It's Proverbs chapter 22, verse 15.
Puedes leer Proverbios 22:15.
My mother would say,
Mi madre diría,
you're crying.
estás llorando.
Now you have something to cry about.
Ahora sí tienes algo de qué llorar.
Okay? There is this very silly thing called ADHD.
Hay algo muy ridículo que se llama ADHD.
ADHD is only found in America.
ADHD, ADHD solo se encuentra en América.
See, the French have one thing, well, they have two things right. They make good champagne.
Los franceses tienen dos cosas que son
They
buenas.
make some very good wine,
Hacen buen vino y buena champaña.
croissants, French fries,
Hacen-
and they spank their children.
Ellos tienen esas cosas buenas. Hacen champaña, hacen vino, hacen croissant.
In France,
golpean
they only have a 3.5% children taking any ADHD drugs.
Allá tienen un porcentaje bien bajo, 3.5% de niños solamente que
How did our
toman
parents-
ADHD.
Why wasn't there ADHD back in the 19th? Why didn't we have that back then, guys?
¿Por qué no teníamos estos medicamentos en tiempo atrás?
Can anybody say chancla?
¿Alguien puede decir chanclas?
Right? Did your parents get the chancla out?
Si tus padres sacaban las chanclas, ya no
Or,
necesitabas eso.
as my dad, when my mother said, wait till your father gets home.
Así como mi madre decía, espera que tu padre regrese a casa.
Then the belt was coming.
Entonces la correa salía al aire.
Because we had gone past the wooden spoon.
Porque después de eso pasábamos a
What did you get? The metal part of the belt.
Uf.
Huh? I think we should use the baseball bat. All right? So in France, they don't have this problem because they spank their children.
Y allá en Francia no tienen ese problema de utilizar medicamentos para los niños porque ellos corrigen a sus hijos.
God says it won't kill the child,
El Señor dice que no era para matar a los hijos,
so we follow God.
sino que seguimos a Dios.
John 17, verse 14, in the next story,
En la próxima historia, Juan
the
17:14,
Lord said, you're going to be hated for following my words.
el Señor dice, serás odiado por seguir mis palabras.
In this new story,
En esta nueva historia,
the disgusting piece of garbage in the White House called Obama,
la basura que está en la Casa
and
Blanca
he
llamada
is
Obama,
garbage,
y sí es una basura,
he stands for the gay people.
ellos se están parando a favor de los
He
homosexuales.
says now if you're a religious organization
Dice que ahora si eres una organización
that
religiosa
preaches against homosexuality,
que predica en contra de la homosexualidad,
you cannot help the government with aid to when there's a disaster.
no puedes ayudar al gobierno cuando hay un desastre.
Yes, that's what the homo Obama said.
Sí, eso fue lo que el homosexual de Obama dijo.
He says if you do not allow homosexuals, if you preach against homosexuality,
Dice que si no aceptas y predicas en contra de la homosexualidad,
because you're not equal.
dice que no eres igual.
Well, all right, we'll just help our own then.
Entonces
We don't
ayúdanos.
need your help, Obama.
No necesitamos su ayuda.
We can't
Obama.
wait till you're gone.
No podemos esperar hasta que salgas.
You've been the worst president ever.
Ha sido el peor presidente de todos los
In
tiempos.
Isaiah 5, verse 20,
En Isaías 5:20
it says, in the end of days, evil will be called good, and good will be called evil.
dice que al final de los tiempos lo malo iba a ser llamado bueno y lo bueno malo.
In this next news story,
En esa nueva historia,
in a Virginia public high school,
en la escuela pública de Virginia,
they're starting a Planned Parenthood group.
hay un grupo de planificación paterna.
This is good in a high school.
Dicen que eso es bueno en las escuelas.
Okay? That is absolutely disgusting.
Esto es absolutamente desagradable.
Yes, this is how you go get an abortion.
Así que enseñan cómo hacerse abortos.
This is how you murder your children.
Así es como asesinas a tus hijos.
Abortion is murder.
El aborto es asesinato.
Okay? My mother was looking for an abortion, but she couldn't find it because it was 19.
Mi madre estuvo buscando cómo abortarme, pero ella no
It
pudo.
wasn't
porque
legal back then.
en aquel entonces era ilegal.
Okay? Having a Planned Parenthood at a public high school is not appropriate.
No es apropiado tener planificación de nacimiento en las
How
escuelas.
about letting the kids focus on mathematics and science and reading, since most of them can't do that?
¿Por qué no mejor enfocarse en cómo leer en matemáticas y en ciencias? Porque la mayoría de ellos no saben hacer eso.
Going on to the next part.
Ujú.
In the end of days, evil will be called good and good will be called evil.
Al final de los tiempos, lo bueno iba a ser llamado malo y lo malo bueno.
Of the Syrian refugees,
Los refugiados sirios,
more than 13,000 have come to the United States.
más de 13,000 han venido a los Estados Unidos.
99.1% of the refugees are Muslim.
99.1% de los refugiados son musulmanes.
Okay? 0.5%
0.5%
are the Christians.
son cristianos.
Who's being murdered in Syria?
¿Quiénes han sido asesinados en Siria?
The Christians.
Los cristianos.
The Muslims are not being murdered unless they're fighting for an opposition team.
Los musulmanes no son asesinados a menos que ellos estén peleando en un equipo contrario.
Next news story. Here in 2 Timothy chapter 2,
En 2 Timoteo 4:3,
chapter 4,
en el capítulo 4,
verse 3,
versículo 3.
Paul writes, there's a time coming where people will not listen to the sound doctrine.
Pablo habla de que vendrán tiempos donde muchos no quieran escuchar sana doctrina.
In this news story, these are two idiots, two pastors.
Aquí en esa historia estos son dos pastores
They're on a show called HGTV.
que ellos se están haciendo un programa en HGTV.
Okay? The pastorette, the woman there, and the guy doing the devil sign.
La pastora ahí y el sujeto que está haciendo
You know that's the sign of the devil?
señales satánicas.
Okay? If you do this,
Si
that
haces
in sign
esto,
language is Y.
ahí en el lenguaje de señas es Y o hola.
Okay? That in sign language is I love you.
Y eso es en mudo es te amo.
Okay? That in sign language is
Eso,
nothing.
eso en lenguaje de señas no es nada.
It's a sign of the devil.
Esa señal satánica.
So
del
what do
diablo.
you see the pastor doing?
¿Y qué estás viendo que el pastor está haciendo?
Okay? He's doing the sign of the devil.
Está haciendo esta señal satánica.
These two Texas pastors
Estos dos pastores de Texas
are saying that homosexuality is okay in the Bible.
están diciendo que la homosexualidad es correcta en la Biblia.
They must not have read the book of Romans chapter 1.
Ellos no han leído el libro de Romanos en capítulo
They
1.
must not have read Leviticus 18 verse 22
Tampoco han leído Levíticos 22, 18.
and Revelation
18, 22.
and Revelation chapter 22 verse 15.
Y Revelaciones, Apocalipsis 22, 15.
Is homosexuality a sin? Yes.
¿La homosexualidad es un pecado? Sí.
They're not going to get into heaven.
Ellos no van a entrar al cielo.
Nor is it somebody who's fornicating or stealing
Tampoco una persona que está fornicando o está robando.
or somebody who's taking drugs.
O alguien que está usando drogas.
Okay? If you're smoking pot, you're not getting into heaven.
Si estás fumando marihuana no vas a entrar al cielo.
Will it help my appetite?
Eso
Go to a
ayuda,
bakery, it'll help your appetite.
eso ayuda a mi apetito.
Right?
Ven.
Go by a bakery that just made some bread. You go to near a Portuguese bakery. Oh, when they just made some fresh bread, or a pizza parlor. You don't need pot. You just need to be able to cook.
Ven.
Okay. Going on to the next story.
La próxima historia.
Once again, good will be called evil, and evil will be called good.
Una vez más, lo bueno iba a ser llamado malo y lo malo bueno.
Oh, this was from last week. Forgot to take it out. Going on to the next one, Proverbs 8.
En Proverbios 8,
In verse 35
el versículo
and
35,
36, people that love death.
y en el versículo 36, las personas amarán la muerte.
And in Washington, D.C., that is apparent.
Y eso son los padres en Washington, D.C.
In
Eso
Washington,
es algo
D.C.,
aparte en Washington. Esto es lo que aparenta ser en Washington.
okay, they passed the Death with Dignity Act.
Ellos han pasado el acto de la muerte con dignidad.
If you're terminally ill,
Si estás con una enfermedad de terminal,
they now can kill you.
ahora pueden ya asesinarte.
So, Abuelita, let's get rid of her.
O, por ejemplo, abuelita, ya vamos a deshacernos de ella.
It's a seventh area to allow euthanasia in our nation.
Es en 7 áreas ya que se aprobó la eutanasia en la nación.
God calls that murder.
El Señor le llama eso asesinato.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 37.
Deuteronomio 28:37.
God said, if you don't follow my rules, I'm going to make you poor.
El Señor dice que si no sigues mis reglas, Él te va a hacer pobre.
In New York City,
En el estado de Nueva York,
they have the highest level of homeless people ever now.
en la ciudad de Nueva York, tiene la cantidad mayor de indigentes en la calle ahora.
They're up to 60,000 homeless people in New York City.
Ahora mismo hay más de 60,000 indigentes en la
That
calle.
is up 200 from the last 2 weeks.
Eso aumentó unos 200 de las 2 semanas atrás.
So God said, you don't want to follow my rules? Okay.
El Señor dice, no quieres seguir mis reglas, está bien.
Next story, war stories.
Noticias de guerra.
Please pay attention to what's going on here.
Por favor, preste atención de lo que está ocurriendo ahora.
Yeshua said in Matthew 24, verse 7,
Yeshua dice en Mateo 24:7,
a nation will fight against nation, people will fight against people. There you go, there's a couple right there.
dice que pueblo contra pueblo y nación contra nación.
Okay? The Turkish military deploys tanks on their border with Iraq.
La milicia turca está poniendo tanques en las fronteras con iraní.
Okay?
Iraquí.
They're getting ready with war with Iraq.
Ya están listos para la guerra con Irak.
Next war story. The Russians are going to nuke Norway.
Rusia está yendo a Norway.
Vladimir Putin said this week
Vladimir Putin dijo esta semana
that because they allowed 330 U.S. Marines
de porque ellos permitieron a 330 marines de Estados Unidos
in Norway, we're going to nuke you if we go to war.
En Norway ellos iban a lanzar una bomba nuclear en contra de ellos.
Next war story.
Próxima noticia.
The Russian nuclear submarines were spotted in the Irish Sea.
La submarino nuclear de Rusia estuvo en el mar de Islandia. Irish Sea. Sí, amén.
Okay. All right, and last news story.
La última noticia es
Lebanon is about to go to war with Israel.
el Líbano está dispuesto a ir a la guerra con Israel.
Their new president
El nuevo presidente
said we're going to take back the Golan Heights.
dijo que iban a volver a tomar los altos de Golán.
He's affiliated with Hamas.
Es afiliado a Hamas.
Okay, so he says we're going to war with Israel when he takes power.
Él dijo que cuando tomara posición del poder iba a ir en contra, a hacer guerra con Israel.
Get ready, everybody. Things are about to happen.
Alístense todo el mundo, esto está a punto de acontecer.
That's it for the news stories.
Ya esto es todo de las noticias.
There were 192 of you out there last week.
Semana pasada hubo
Only
192
a
de
few of you
ustedes.
donated. Hit the daggone donate button.
Solo pocos de ustedes donaron. Por favor, presiona el botón de
All
donar.
right, those of us who are here, if you want to donate,
Aquellos que están aquí, si quieren
you want to
donar,
keep your congregation open,
si quieren mantener tu
you like
congregación
worshiping
abierta,
here,
te gusta
like
adorar
hearing the
aquí,
news and the Word of God.
escuchando las noticias y la palabra
All
de
right,
Dios.
so we're going to take up a tithe and all. Shalom. My name is Messianic Rabbi Andrew Dinnerman, and I invite you to come to visit our congregation. If you are in the tri-state area, come out and visit with us on Shabbat. We are a congregation of Jews and Gentiles, living as one in the Messiah Yeshua. BGMC is a place of true worship. The focus never wanders from the Hebraic roots of our faith. Beth Goyim is rooted in the Word of God from Bereshit through to the book of Revelation. Messiah's strong words against man-made tradition are carefully recorded in Matthew 7. That is the reason we only follow the straight-up instructions found in Scripture. Truly, the way, the truth, and the life. If you're looking for a deeper walk with Adonai, come out for our Tuesday evening Bible study called Messianic Torah Time. Come, spend a day with us on any Shabbat. We start at 11 a.m. with the sound of the ancient Hebrew shofar. Next, we offer our King praise and worship in English, Hebrew, and Spanish. After worship, we review the headlines in the previous week's news from around the globe, especially news from the Holy Land, Israel. We don't just list the news headlines as current events, but we comb through the scriptures, searching for clues to understand what they mean and then to help pinpoint prophetically our current position on Adonai's clock. After digesting all that modern information, we leave the world behind as we journey with our Adonai deep into his eternal word, not with just one or two scriptures, but usually 7 or more scriptures. The spiritual nourishment and the richness of his kingdom become accessible to the ones who share this special time and seek them out. The day does not end there. Because Shabbat is so special to him, there is always so much more that our King desires to share. So instead of separating and leaving, we stay together as a family for potluck lunch and an afternoon study of our King's Word. We close this Shabbat together with the reading of the new week's parashah. That's the Torah portion. Even after those blessings, many of us just can't get enough. So the members bring prepared homemade foods to share while we all enjoy an uplifting movie together. If all that information is not quite enough, you can check out our website where you will find over 200 video teachings and biblical holy day studies. Under Messianic Torah Time, the Hebrew Roots button, you'll discover free studies on many different topics, including PowerPoint slide presentations. If Beth Goyim sounds like a place you'd love to visit, but you live outside the tri-state area, there is still a way to connect with us. We stream live on the internet on Tuesday, Thursday, and Shabbat. The website is www.bethgoyim.org. That's BETHGOYIM.org. Our phone number is 973-338-7800 or 978-2-YESHUA. That's 978, the number 2, Yeshua. Shalom.